Didn't you hope your bridge design would receive its final approval? A hard stone set in Bran's chest. We had a meeting last night. I expected to be named the architect, but then a new player was thrown into the game, a Scotsman who was a relative of Derville's. Derville? That bastard!
Lord Derville's estates bordered Balfour. Years ago, in a dispute over property lines, Derville had challenged Mars's father to a duel. The old Earl had died of the wounds he'd received that day, and the feud between the two families had intensified. Mars claimed he couldn't wait to put a bullet into Derville's black heart.
Did he block your plans after all the reviews you've been through? He was at the meeting. He suggested an architect with more experience would be a better choice. Apparently his opinion was all that was needed for the Surveyor General to table the matter.
Ned jumped in.
More experience? You've built bridges, canals and roads in India. What have you not built? You have letters of recommendation from the company, don't you?
He referred to the East India Company, which Bran had left 3 years ago.
My introductions and references have been presented, Bran answered. Derville suggested my work on foreign soil could not meet English standards.
Derville wasn't the first to do so. Establishing himself in England had been a challenge.
Derville is a fool, then, Ned replied stoutly. And what is this talk about connections? What does that have to do with engineering?
Ned was a man of science. He was the bastard son of a noted peer, and as such, like Bran, had to rely on his intellect to make his way in the world. They had both been successful, although many wondered why a talented doctor like Thurlow would prefer to rusticate in Maidenshock instead of try his hand in London.
Obviously, competence and intelligence isn't enough in the world of politics and power, Bran answered. The Duke of Winderton is your nephew and your ward, Thurlow said. You returned to guide him after his father died. That is a connection, and a damn honourable one. A connection to property Derville covets, Mars pointed out. And property he would have convinced your sister to sell if you hadn't returned from India and stopped her. So this is his revenge, eh? I assumed he would show his hand sooner or later. He prides himself on extracting a price, damn his soul. Apparently it is.
Bran tightened his hold on the gun.
I spent a year meeting their every demand.
He let his voice trail off with frustration.
Did you say the meeting was last night? And you were here? Ned asked. Did you sleep? I was too angry to sleep. Besides, late yesterday my sister started sending urgent messages for me to return at once. Something about Winderton.
Bran was the Duke's guardian until he reached 21 in a few months. In truth, Winderton had been too coddled by his mother to take over such responsibilities. If Bran had been the author of the will, Winderton would need to wait until he was at least 30, but the matter was not his to decide.
Do either of you have an idea what she could be in high dudgeon over this time? I saw your young Duke drinking with friends at the Garland the other night, Mars reported. He was blissfully in his cups and appeared happy. I passed him yesterday in the village, Thurlow offered. He was barrelling down the road without a sideward glance on some mission of his own making. You know how he is.
Self-important, Bran wanted to suggest. He didn't. It would be disloyal. Still, how could someone who is only 20 think his opinion mattered to anyone in the world?
Lucy cries wolf every time he doesn't do what she thinks he should. So I've come to sort that out.
And himself. He needed to sort himself out. If he didn't receive that commission, then what future was there for him? His friends nodded, quieting as they reached their destination, a group of 3 huge plane trees off to themselves. Here was the rook's roosting place. The birds would wake with the dawn. Trailing behind the 3 bucks were the oldest members of the Logical Mens Society, Mr. Fullerton and Sir Lionel Johnson. They rode in makeshift sedan chairs carried by Sir Lionel's servants, and were more interested in drinking port than shooting birds. Fullerton had been the estate manager for Mars's grandfather back in the day. Sir Lionel had once been the King's ambassador to Italy, and he'd been dining out on the honour ever since. Rounding out the hunting party were Mars's gamekeeper, Evans, and numerous servants carrying more guns, powder, and, of course, the port. A number of lads from the village, warned to silence, brought up the rear. They would race to collect the kill. Mars had offered a penny for every rook stuffed in their bags. The goal of a rook hunt was to